I think some of the press has tried to demonise young people throughout this, that they're being irresponsible and they're not following the rules.
We've certainly seen that a lot in the UK
Well,
media.
we have, but there's plenty of older people who are breaking the rules and acting, without showing respect for their community. From my experience of young people, particularly on the island, most of them are incredibly dedicated to looking after their own health and the health of their community. But we know that when you're in big social gatherings, that it becomes quite difficult. What we have to remember is that young people have had an awful lot of the burden of the costs of coronavirus, but are still relatively safe in terms of the virus. If they do get infected, they're normally either asymptomatic or only have minor symptoms, and yet they're sharing a lot of the burdens and a lot of the restrictions that the rest of us have to do as well. So I certainly wouldn't blame students for occasionally forgetting to put a mask on or stand 2 metres away from one of their friends. It's the reality, and all of us have to get used to that if we go to the United Kingdom.
Are Manx students at a disadvantage in that regard, in the way that the rules are very different here to in the UK?
I don't think so. I think young people are remarkably resilient. They will adapt to the changing situation there. It's interesting talking about Freshers' Week, because there have been worries that sometimes people find Freshers' Week a bit too intense. There's often too much emphasis on alcohol and socialising, and for some people who come from a small community, they might find that intimidating. Perhaps this year we can reassess what Freshers' Week is about, to go more for the emphasis on communication and building up networks, as we've already been described, rather than just going down the pub and drinking too much. And so I think there's always opportunities in different situations, and I think Manx students and students in general, whether they're on the island at UCM or across, can make the most of those opportunities that come about.
William, amongst your peers, is there apprehension about sticking by the rules across?
I don't think so. I think people, wherever they're coming from, as you've touched on, the UK seems to have slightly different rules dotted about now. It's not really across the board. So I think quite a lot of people will be adapting to new circumstances when they go. So I don't think people feel like they're sort of in a different boat. Obviously, we are different, but I think people will be able to adapt to the rules